appears to be. Did you get a message that it was live?
I did.
It looked as though it started, so we're good,
Okay.
Judge.
Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. I want to thank everyone for coming out this morning. I appreciate y'all taking out time for this meeting. Our first item this morning is a roll call. I see Judge Coleman. Kevin Phelps is here with me. I see Colton. I don't see Melissa or Vincent. Okay. All right. Our next item is approval of our minutes from January 20th.
I move that we dispense with the reading and approve them as submitted.
Second.
Motion Colton,
Second.
second by Kevin. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor of the motion, let know by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is our AOC update. Don't know who's giving that this morning.
I can give a brief one of stuff that's going on. So we've gotten Alliance's front end documentation as far as the stuff they have to bid out the job, and we should have our review comments back to them today. That's basically what's called the front end documentation. It has all their bid stuff on there. So what they'll do is they'll take our comments and make any adjustments, and then I believe that will allow us to be able to bid the job. The only thing I know that we have left is to get the building permit approval from Housing, Building, and Construction.
And Jeff, go ahead, Mark.
I was just saying. So basically, this may have been discussed before, but basically, Sherman Carter, Barnhart, and engineers and civil engineer and all that, they basically get all the drawings ready. And then Alliance has to kind of like divvy up the work in the bid packages. So they have all their contractual information and stuff for the bidders, usually put in the documents. And so we just double check that against our administrative procedures to make sure there's no conflicts is what happens. So they just did that on Berrien County. So a lot of this stuff is semi cut and paste from what we've done previously on other jobs. So, but I did check with the person whose job is to review that stuff, and they said they'll have it finished up today. Tim's on here if he wants to add anything to that, but anyway, that's kind of what happens at the very end there. So
We did get our comments. We had Phase C review comments to get to the architects, so we have done that. So the architects have most of the information. I think there's a few things that they will have to basically integrate into the plans, make any changes or revisions from those comments. Chris, I'll let you speak to the scheduling, but Jeff had indicated maybe at the 17th, is that the date that he thought at the latest that he would get the plans submitted?
That's my understanding, is that we're waiting on finishing up a couple questions from you guys, and then HBC is reviewing the plans in Frankfurt, and we'll put those together, and then it'll go out.
Okay, do we have a tentative start date when we're looking at starting construction? Rough estimate or anything?
I'll give you the sequence of events, Judge. Uh, Basically, so it could take up to 60 days to get the building permit. It just depends on Housing, Building, Construction's, I guess, volume of work they got going on. Usually it's more work than they can get done in general. So, but basically once we have that back, Alliance will bid that out, and I would assume they would at least have that bid out for 30 days, maybe a little more. I don't know.
Yes.
So once they get that back, once they get the bids in, if you will, the Alliance has to kind of basically vet the bids to make sure that usually they'll have what's called I would say maybe call it a bid review with the people, the individual bidders to make sure they didn't miss the scope of work. Uh, and so if all that goes well, they'll basically come in and present you all the bids for approval. And then once that happens, we get the contract in place with Alliance. And then once we have that done, then they're able to start, if you will. So also at the very beginning, when they're doing starting the job, the architects and engineers have to review all the submittals, which submittals are basically says, hey, this is the exact product that we're going to use based on your specifications. So they could have brand A, B, and C that's on the list or what have you, and so the architects will basically double check and make sure this meets the spec. So a lot of that happens at the very beginning, and usually while all that's going on, the earthwork will be starting, if you will. I'll let Tim speak to stuff maybe specific to this project, so they could be tearing the buildings down, while that's going on, the submittal stuff is going on. But um,
I mean, that's correct. Right now, we're going through as Mark indicated, our front end documents, our project manual, just tightening that up with the architect's drawings and specifications. Again, we're cross-checking everything, so it's another set of eyes reviewing the drawings and then pointing out anything we find, asking questions, verifying details. So that process is going currently. Um, in the initial project manual that we submitted, we were hoping for a March bid date, and that still may be possible. I don't know. Again, it just depends on all the approval process because there's a lot of unknowns there. So as soon as we have approval from AOC, we'll conclude our phase and then we'll propose a time that it goes out to bid. I would probably see 4 weeks of bid time on a project of this size. Once we get bids, again, we'll go through the review process and then submit that list to AOC and then basically go through the other process that Mark described. So things are moving along well right now. Again, we've got pretty much all the documents. Mark, there was a question about the HBC approval prior to bid. Is that
yeah, that's something that's in our administrative procedures, Tim,
okay?
just so you
So
know.
that will take place because Jeff seemed to be a little bit surprised about that, but
Yes. Yes, it will.
okay.
If
But
he
again, I
submit,
think that's, go ahead.
go ahead, Tim, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, if that's already in process, that probably will run kind of concurrently with everything else that's going on right now also. That may dictate our final bid date is the only thing is having all that incorporated in the documents prior to bid.
Yeah, so basically, if there was some review comments by HBC, Sherman Carter Barnhart would have to make those corrections. Then y'all would have to double check and see what the corrections are to make sure we got
Right.
coverage, right? And then we would be able to
Correct.
go out to bid.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Most of the time those type of corrections are relatively minor,
Yeah.
and could be done by addendum. But if we want to wait till that complete review is done, that's understandable also.
Okay.
But things are going, like I said, we're just kind of going through crossing T's and dotting I's right now. So as soon as everything is ready to go, we will be too.
So Judge Fleener, just the kind of the variable is how long it'll take to get the building and the plan review done. So basically once we get that done, I'm assuming anything they'll come back to us is going to be very minor. Um, basically Lance will just double check to see, what the changes are, and then we should be able to go out to bid. So
Jeff,
basically we're on I'm going to say we're on the cusp of bidding really. We just got to tie up a few loose ends. I know we're just double checking a couple things on King on our end, which is just a minor item, if you will. So that's all I have so far.
And to go back and answer your question, Judge, I would think sometime in May, I would think that we would be on site.
Okay.
Tim or Chris, we have submitted though to HBC already, right?
Yep, I just checked with
Okay.
Rick and
All
he,
right.
as far as I know,
I know
Yeah.
when you submit, they give you basically a standard timeline. Have they given that to us, or do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, I was just wanting to see how that coincides with those times. So
Jeff did indicate, Danny, that the last submission they had was a fairly quick turnaround, 2 to 3 weeks.
yeah,
I don't know if we can expect that, but he was optimistic.
we can hope and maybe make a couple of calls. So
Okay. Is there anything else to add to the AOC update? Not, is there any other business to bring before the board at this time?
I'll bring up one thing, Dan. I don't know if this has been discussed. Do we want to work on a groundbreaking?
I spoke with Judge Fleener. He did indicate he wanted to do that.
Okay.
So we will ask the chief's office for dates
Okay.
and coordinate that with everyone, with the team, make sure it's
Okay.
good timing.
Okay. Dan, real quick, while he's on, if you all talked to him about getting a guest list together in
No, we've not started any of that.
okay, we can do that here soon. That way they can work on that with plenty of time.
And we can help facilitate the
Tent.
whatever we need on site.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else this morning? If not, we need to set our next meeting date. Sorry, I don't have a calendar with me. 17th of March. Is that someone said?
Yeah, that's what I've got down.
Okay. Okay, March 17th at 8 a.m. Does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. With that, once again, I want to thank everyone for taking their time out this morning. Then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Colton,
second.
second by Kevin. All in favor, say aye.
Ah.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.